Lenyn Sosa is quietly hitting really well. Let's talk waiver ads up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Tuesday, August 19th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's take a look at some waiver wire ads, starting with Lenyn Sosa of the White Sox. Hit another home run here on Monday. Over his last 43 games, he's hitting .280 with 13 home runs, 37 RBI, and OPS over 850. Only 46% rostered with 3 different positions of eligibility. Scott, that number feels like it should be higher.
Yeah, I'm pretty much convinced Lenyn Sosa is a good player. Now, how good is he for fantasy? It's tricky because he's in such a bad lineup and because he walks so infrequently, just a 3.5% walk rate. So he kind of has a profile that's extra dependent on supporting cast to maximize it, and he doesn't have that supporting cast. But based on what Lenyn Sosa can control, he looks like a keeper. I mean, it does feel like this performance, this breakthrough came out of nowhere, but you go look through his minor league track record in 2022 between double and triple A. Lenyn Sosa hit .315, 23 homers, and 881 OPS. The following year, 271, 17 homers, and 820 OPS. So he was putting up numbers like these in the minors. We've seen that it takes hitters, especially some time to adapt to the majors, but it's not just the top line numbers that are looking good for Lenyn Sosa. He has the exit velocities. He has the expected stats, 285 expected average, batting average, 492 expected slug. That's like 80th and 90th percentile. And he keeps the strikeouts under control. He's got the good pull air rate. Like, he looks like a player who deserves to be starting in the majors long term, and the White Sox have found their, I don't know, I guess second base is where he's most likely to settle ultimately. You can use him in fantasy now, certainly in roto leagues where there are a lot more hitter spots to fill. I think the walk rate, particularly with the poor supporting cast, is going to eliminate Lenyn Sosa for points league use, though, except in an emergency.
Who do you prefer between Lenyn Sosa and Colt Keith, who's actually been hitting very well? They both have first, second, and third base eligibility. Who do you like more?
I like Lenyn Sosa more, but not a lot more, because Colt Keith has the supporting cast. Now he's kind of in a platoon role, and that limits his relevance for fantasy, but he's been good for a long time now. Since May 4th, he's batting .297. And the exit velocities are much better this year. The strikeout rate's much better. Like, this was a former high-end prospect who the Tigers gave a long-term contract before he even debuted. So I think there's talent here for Colt Keith as well. Sort of like Sosa. I don't know that I'm so much liking him to use right now in fantasy. Is just, I think this guy is going to be somebody we're caring about next year and into the future, when I wasn't so sure of that for Colt Keith coming into this year.
Chris and I spoke a bunch about Samuel Basallo yesterday, Orioles catcher prospect who was recently promoted. He's the third most added hitter on CBS right now. The question is, how high do we get him in the rankings? So I'll throw a few names your way, Scott. Would you drop Alejandro Kirk for Samuel Basallo?
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy. The one hesitation would be points leagues, because the strikeout rate is so low for Kirk, particularly ones that like penalize a full point per strikeout. But I think even in those, there's just not enough impact from Kirk's bat right now.
What about JT Realmuto, who is hitting for a high batting average, but not really doing much else?
Yeah, 328 is what he's hitting since June 9th, but with 3 home runs, hardly any walks. So yeah, Basallo over Realmuto.
All right, these last two I think are a little bit tougher. Drake Baldwin or Samuel Basallo?
That is tougher. That is about the line for me. So I'm putting him about 12th, 13th in my rankings, I guess, to start out. I am giving Baldwin the edge for now, just because it is so hard for high-end prospects, hitting prospects especially, to just kind of hit the ground running in the majors. Baldwin, we know, is performing well. But Basallo has more upside, and Basallo Basayo might be the next Kyle Schwarber in terms of how hard he impacts the ball, and it's an easy comp to make because Schwarber started out as a poor defensive catcher himself.
And the last name is Ben Rice, who had a huge game over the weekend and has started 11 straight for the Yankees. So they are finding ways to get him in the lineup. Who do you like more, Ben Rice or Basayo?
I think Ben Rice, but that's right at the line. Agustin Ramirez is in that range as well. It's a crowded position this year. There's a lot of talent that has debuted at this position this year, and not a lot of it's losing catcher eligibility for next year. William Contreras is, I think Ivan Herrera is, but
Basayo might. Basayo might too.
Basayo might, yeah. Although he was catching on Monday.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
All right, let's take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
The crowd loves champions. Gladiator 2 is an epic spectacle. Remarkable! To amuse you is my only wish.
The glory is yours, not mine.
Very good. Gladiator 2, rated R. Now streaming on Paramount+.
Before we get into it, let me just correct myself. Wilson Contreras is losing catcher eligibility. The Cardinals Contreras. I think I said William before. He's not.
Before we get into the pitchers, just check to see if Jurickson Profar is available. If you play in a shallower league, just had to mention the guy is on fire. Had another huge game here on Monday, 3 for 5 with 2 homers and a steal. He had 5 RBI in that game. Last 16 games, Profar is hitting .317, 6 homers, 4 steals, 15 walks during that stretch. So 77% rostered. I think it's 55% on Yahoo. Just check to make sure Jurickson Profar is not available in your league. On to the pitchers, Nolan McLean and Hurston Waldrop. Chris also spoke a lot about them yesterday. Scott, who do you prefer between the two, Waldrop or Nolan McLean?
Like them both, but I got to go Waldrop here because there's a little more proof of concept. I mean, all 3 outings have been tremendous. One technically wasn't a start, but he went 5 2/3. The other 2, he went 6, the minimum for a quality start. And that's one area where I think McLean might struggle. There will be some efficiency issues. He struggles with walks, so he might not work deep into games. He might face a workload, like he might come up on an innings limit that I don't think is going to be the case for Waldrop. Waldrop himself, former first-round pick, and though the minor league numbers won't blow you away, he worked with Sean Murphy down when Murphy was on a rehab assignment earlier this year to develop a sinker, and that has kind of brought it all together for Waldrop, allowed his elite splitter to play up because he has better pitches that work well with it, better pitches that he can throw more consistently for strikes. And we're seeing the results. It's been great.
All right, and last question, I want to ask you about some deep league saves sources here. Victor Vodnik of the Rockies, Justin Topa of the Twins, Jose Ferrer of the Nationals. Scott, how would you rank those 3 if you need saves?
I would rank them. I'm going to go Ferrer, then Topa, then Victor Vodnik. None of them I think are actually good enough to be closing, and none of them are on teams that are going to win much moving forward. So,
hey, watch out for those Rockies.
I know they've gotten some saves recently, but still, I would not bet on Victor Vodnik even getting 5 saves the rest of the way.
All right.
But that's it. Yeah, Ferrer, Topa, Vodnik.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again on Thursday. Bye-bye.